Most adults get, 25, 30 years to become their ideal self before they have to try and tell or teach another person how to do that. That's a lot of work for a parent to do. And most people in the modern society are not getting that work done because all our values are being changed from the top down. The values that had grown over thousands of years of evolutionary development have been thrown out the window and revolutionized inside of a single generation. That these changes are so fast that the snapback is going to take us back into a feudal era. Hey guys, this is John here in Los Angeles with the Alpha Channel update for Thursday, May 30th, 2024. There's a few things I want to talk about, and before I get to the art and whatnot, I want to mention some things that I'd seen online. Two events that have been happening. One, a guy named Wes Watson went off on a Christian about what is alpha, and the other one is the drama circling around Nick Rekieta and the parenting of his children while being addicted to drugs and alcohol. The first one, this is called Alpha Channel, right? I haven't always been an alpha. And maybe if you're not born an alpha, you can't say you're alpha. Maybe saying you're alpha is cringe as fuck. But the point is, everybody's trying to improve themselves. No one wants to stay belittled or pushed around. And everyone starts off being belittled and pushed around. Whatever industry you're in, if you're a guy, no matter what you do, there's someone better at it than you. And how that person gives you advice may not always be polite. It might not always be fun. It might not always be considerate. But it's still advice. And you can still learn from it regardless of the tone that it's delivered in. So you need to disassociate your feelings, your ego, from the work that you're trying to do. Now that has nothing to do with what went on between this guy Wes Watson and this Christian fellow. And I don't even care about what Wes was saying. I know he's been to prison. I know he's worked out a lot. He's gotten jacked. There's some allegations that he uses or did use steroids. I'm sure Alex Hormozy has had the same allegations leveled at him. I know Henry Cavill says that he got that jacked doing 6 months of 6 hours a day workouts with 10 hours a day of sleep and tons of food. So it's possible Alex Hormozy did it natural. It's possible Wes Watson did it natural. It's possible Henry Cavill did it natural. His trainer said you can do it naturally and that's how I want you to do it. So I'm not going to accuse any of these guys of lying, but there are a lot of people out there cheating. And this brings me to the main topic of the day is bullies and edgelords and losing your cool. When Wes Watson raised his voice and flipped out on this Christian fellow who wasn't in great shape, but he was a dad, he had a family, he's providing for his family. Maybe that guy had been in good shape at one time. Maybe he will get in good shape now. When you judge someone, you're judging them in the present. You're not giving them room to grow. I've said this before on this channel. God waits until a man's dead to judge him. Who am I to step in front of that? Now, it doesn't matter if you believe there's a God or not. God is a destination. God is where you're going. When people think about God, they think about answering to God for their lives. They don't think about God showing up on any given Tuesday and saying, hey, well, you're fucking up. Which is what God should be doing. Which is what we all need a little bit more parenting. So this whole thing, bullying, edgelords, our modern society, this all comes down to parenting and teaching the youth and kids coming up. I was a kid, so I am allowed to have an opinion on this. Everyone who had a childhood is allowed to have an opinion on this, which is why it's such a hot subject with Nick Rekieta. And people are defending Nick and saying, that's a very hard thing to do. This is a very hot subject to handle right now, and I wouldn't touch it with a 10-foot pole. I'm only mentioning it because I'm pointing out that people feel the need to weigh in and give their opinion, and you don't have to. You don't have to. It doesn't involve you. It involves those kids and their parents and nobody else. And everyone wants to have an opinion about parenting, but it's not really your place. I'm from a family who had a lot of people had opinions about my parents and how they raised us. And they weren't the best parents. They weren't perfect. No parents are. But because my family was, how do you say this? I'm the oldest of 14 kids, so we got a lot of attention. There was a lot of scrutiny paid to how our parents raised us. And they were always present. They were always doing a good job. There was never a case of neglect, but 14 personalities is a lot of guidance counseling. And when you're not who you want to be yourself, that's very hard guidance to give. Most adults get 25, 30 years to become their ideal self before they have to try and tell or teach another person how to do that. Maybe another 10 years if you wait until they're 7 or 10 years old, just on reference. So that's a lot of work for a parent to do. And most people in the modern society are not getting that work done because we're in such a massive, turbulent time. All our values are being changed from the top down. The values that had grown over thousands of years of evolutionary development have been thrown out the window and revolutionized inside of a single generation. This has happened in my lifetime. That's a single generation. You can say a generation is 20 years, but if one lifetime can see it happen, that these changes are so fast that the snapback is going to take us back into a feudal era, is my personal opinion. All it's going to take is the internet to go down in spots, and things are going to go nuts. Things are going to go absolutely nuts. And the people in charge will not be the people on top when it all shakes out. It's impossible. It never shakes out that way. It never shakes out that way. Even in little internet drama, and you have a group and suddenly that group is shattered and it's never rebuilt. These institutions that are being broken down will never be rebuilt. If they are rebuilt, they'll be rebuilt in a new name. People love creating new institutions and new things, and novelty is great, and the old structures of our society are going to go away really, really fast. And new ones are going to be raised in their place. And this brings me to bullying and edgelords. A lot of people get butthurt. And this is the Wes Watson thing. I've only raised my voice since I left my family home at 18. I've only yelled twice. Got angry enough to yell like Wes Watson was, or like I think it's Andrew Tate who does all that screaming and yelling. Sometimes he's tanner than other times, so I can't tell if he's a white guy or, some Arabic ethnicity. So I can never tell who I'm listening to there. I've never gotten into that guy. He has a very negative vibe around him, and I feel like I could beat the shit out of him. So there's that. But seeing these guys scream and yell at the top of their voice, I've done that twice since I was 18, since I left my parents' home. My parents behaved that way all the time, but they were raising 14 kids who needed a lot of discipline. In the Marine Corps, that was different. You only got yelled at when it was impersonal or when it was really, really life and death. No one raised, and if anyone did raise their voice to you, fight words are still fight words. It doesn't matter your rank. I knew guys who got into it with officers, and especially if the officers were wrong. It's like bad cops. Fuck them. Don't listen to them at all. There is no legitimate authority in this world today. I'm going to say that again. You who is listening to me right now, you are the only legitimate authority in your life. Everything you do, you don't have to answer to anyone else. You have to answer to yourself. If you ended up in prison, you need to sort out why. Not what other people did. If you ended up really successful, you need to sort out how to maintain that without a bunch of piranhas and parasites just leeching it all off of you. That's what I've seen happen in studios over and over and over again. It's different in business. It's different in sales. It's different. Money is concrete. Emotions are not. And when you have frustrated artists, they will exploit the system until you go out of business. They will drag their feet. They will not do the work to the best of their ability. They will deliberately mess things up so that you have to get in their face and explain it to them. And really what you have to do is let go of the work and let them produce the work that will either lift or sink the company as a whole. You could see this, I've watched this happen with tons of comic book companies. It's really easy to see in a comic book company. It's harder to see in a film studio. There's only 6 or 8 names to any given book when you include editors and publishers with pencilers and letterers and colorists and whatnot, layout and flatting. There's not a lot of names on a comic. And when you have a company, I'm going to mention a company here that a lot of you will remember, Devil's Due, Josh Blaylock. I watched them. I loved that company so much. I wanted to see them get as big as Image and Marvel and DC. And I think, I'm speaking out of class here a little bit. You guys could go look this up with a bunch of footnotes and whatnot. I believe they got into commercial advertising and overextended themselves with some clients and had to, at one point, I think that I read an article that they were over $10 million in debt and they had to close their doors. Now, what's interesting is that I don't believe that they had IPs, enough original IPs to sell or to sell the company. It doesn't feel like that. Otherwise, they'd still be around and be operating with another COO or something like that, you know? So all of these, overextending yourself, communication, especially with artists, you know what I mean? All of these things are temporary. A brand is temporary. It's your reputation. I was watching yesterday, people were talking about your brand is your reputation. I can confirm this. Matt Barr, you're a piece of shit. Everyone fucking hates you. I know that when people come into an industry, they have to pick fights in order to make a place for themselves. I was watching some branding stuff about this, and that's what Scope did when they took on Listerine. But to come in and pick fights with individuals in an artistic space, no one's going to forget that. I don't even know you, and if I ever see you at a convention, I'm going to try and pick a fight with you. So remember my face. There's a lot of guys like this in Comicsgate already who I have a visceral reaction to, and I hope you have a visceral reaction to me. I would love to go to a comic convention and get challenged to 30 fucking fights. Oh my God, that would be so fucking awesome. That would be so awesome. I don't need to go to MMA. I fight cement. I ride a skateboard. None of you can fuck with me. None of you can improve my kickflips or my ollies. None of you can make me ollie higher. So there's nothing in the world that money can buy me that I can't get for myself. When you get to this place, then you know, you'll feel different. It's not about come and talk to me. It's not about, oh, then you can talk shit. You will feel so different. When there's a place where you realize that there's nothing you want to buy, there's nothing you want to, all I want is supplies, you know? Supplies are basically opportunity. An opportunity to do what? I don't really need to prove anything to anyone except myself. Young artists are trying to prove themselves to the community, but I've seen that the community is, never meet your heroes, right? Be the hero, you know, be the hero of your life. So I did this a little bit different today. I talked all my shit and got my rants out early, and now I'm going to show off the Wildwood Tarot cards. And I love this Grim Reaper Destiny character, so I'm going to show him every time. I believe the last time I showed one of these off, that bit got cut. So today, you guys are going to get two. So I don't think I showed this one off. It's called the Five of Vessels, Ecstasy. And this art is just so good. I love tarot decks. They're fucking amazing for great art. The next one, this next one is the Eight of Stones, Skill. So this is what I'm talking about today. You have to develop the skills that you want to exhibit in the world. And it's not a bad thing. You know, life is a lot shorter than you think. You get old fast. Some of you guys are listening to this thinking, blah, 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 what can I learn from this old guy? You get old fast. That's a good thing to learn. And you know what? I'm a lot older than I look. So stay healthy. Drink water. Get off the alcohol. Don't do steroids. The damage from steroids is permanent. The results are very, very, very temporary. I think you should be in the gym for 5 years before you ever even try steroids. Because am I really going to do this? The tendons and ligaments in all your muscles and all, you know, you need to build all of that before you can suddenly ramp up your musculature, because there are guys who have had the tendon in their bicep snap because the muscle got too big too fast. So let me try and pretend I never did that. So when it comes to steroids, you guys, that is the biggest cheat that a guy can do, and it's the worst one. I think you should be in the gym for 5 years before you touch them, because the tendons in your arms, say this one, I've seen this, there's a video of this, where this tendon right here did not become as strong as the muscle did fast enough, and the muscle tore the tendon from the forearm. And steroid guys have that kind of thing happen to them all the time. The damage from steroids to your kidneys and liver are permanent. The muscle gain is not. So if you're in the gym for 10 years, 5 years, and then you try a cycle or two, maybe you'll put on 10 or 15 pounds and keep it. Who cares? Who cares? Are you really going to be in a fight? Maybe at the gas station. And if so, it's probably because you lost your cool. So yeah, this brings me back to the first thing I talked about. Twice since I left home have I raised my voice to anyone. And both times it's been my brother, who I love the most. My closest brother, my next youngest brother. And it's because I think that we think alike. And when something comes up where we don't see the same, where we don't have the same information and the same beliefs, that wrecks me. He's the only person who I think thinks like me. And when he's been lied to, that wrecks me. And it's not fair. It's none of my business to have an opinion about what he thinks or what he believes. But, I've been lied to a lot. And when you see someone buy a lie and willfully invest in a lie because they think it'll improve their circumstances, that's judgment day. That's coming. That's between you and God. You're going to have to sort that out. That's what drugs are. That's what steroids are. That's what beer and cake and ice cream is. I told you guys I can't remember the taste of ice cream. I sincerely do not remember the last time I've had it. I've only had it with pie and cake at family gatherings. I don't drink alcohol at home. All I do is work. Oh, and speaking of work, I do have some good stuff to show you guys. I don't think I did any good art last night. I think I did some. I don't know. We're about to find out. Let's see what we've got. Oh, I penciled this guy a little bit. He was just blue line yesterday. I think that's all I did last night. This was done before. Yeah, I didn't get anything new done. I didn't get anything laid out. Yesterday was a weird day. I was sideways yesterday. I don't know why. I was. I do have some stuff to show besides this, though. A couple books, specifically this Secrets of the Samurai. Where is it? It's over here. Okay, Secrets of the Samurai. My dad had this book when we were kids. There's an older version of it. It's got drawing in it and stuff. I have it here somewhere. But what's so magnificent about this book is the art inside it. It was done by a guy named Oscar Ratty, and he also wrote or drew an illustrated Aikido book, which I swear to God I have here somewhere, or I sold at Iliad Books, and it was all illustrations. If I sold that, I'm an asshole because it was fucking amazing. But so here's some of these. I'm going to show you guys some of the illustrations in here. They're all just pen line work, but they're incredible. And as a kid, I was just fascinated by this book. Let me show you all the stuff in here. Here's just a picture of a little Japanese house. They're so scattered throughout the book that it's difficult to we're just going to have to do this nice and slow. But this is Secrets of the Samurai, and this is illustrations by Oscar Ratty. And check this out. There's a whole section here about ninja. I don't know if these are really close enough for you guys to see, so I'm going to try putting them up closer. But this is just a magnificent book, not just for the art, not just the art. Here we go. Here's some ninja. There's a lot of great information in here too. They write about just like everything. It's just magnificent. Check out this page. So, as you guys have noticed, I'm experimenting with this whole daily sort of thing. And, oh wow. So I will keep doing these every day, but they're going to vary a little bit from what I'm doing, how I'm doing it. So yeah, today I said some names. Don't yell at people.